Welcome to the herd, the Poke Herd.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Dragonite!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
I summoned the Rayquaza!
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Gyarados!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Umbreon!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Sylveon!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Eevee! Eevee's so cute!
Who's that Pokemon? It's Pikachu!
Pikachu!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Snorlax!
Boring.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Zenola.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Moltres.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Zapdos!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Celebi!
Who's that Pokemon? It's Who's that Pokemon? It's Who's that Pokemon? It's
Blissey! Smile to everyone!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Zekrom!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Blaziken, the Blaze Pokemon!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Jolteon, the lightning Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Charizard! And as well!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Flareon, the Flame Pokemon! Vaporeon, the Bubble Jet Pokemon!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Placenta!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Sasha!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Kingdra! Strong!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Houndoom, the dark Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Shifu.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Metagross!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Rapidash, Galarian form!
Who's that Pokemon? It's Gengar! Who's that Pokemon? It's
Tornadus!
Who's that Pokemon?
Ice Rider Calyrex. Shadow Rider Calyrex, the High King Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Galarian Slowking, the Hexpert Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Shaman to migrate.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Ampharos.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Blaziken, the Blaze Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Kingler.
Amazing!
Who's that Pokemon? It's Pikachu!
Pikachu, the mouse Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Mewtwo!
You too. Fight.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Who's that Pokemon? It's
Lucario.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Where? Aggron, the Iron Armor Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Shaman, the Gratitude Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Dusknoir, let's go!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Whimsicott, the Wind-Veiled Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Scizor has been registered to your Pokédex.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Espeon, the sun Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Oh, a Charizard this time!
Charizard, the flame Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Lucario!
Lucario, Evacuator's orders to dust.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Decidueye, let's wrap this up!
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Ho-Oh! Become a Pokemon Master?
Who's that Pokemon? It's
You hear that noise?
It's Charmeleon!
Charmeleon? They're sharp claws.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Meton. Meton.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Darkrai! Darkrai, the Pitch Black Pokemon. On to have night.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
The Pokemon that comes from shadows.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Haunter, a gaseous Pokemon. No further information.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
This is no place for a human.
Who's that Pokemon?
Tom. Pokédex form.
Pokemon School. Who's that Pokemon? It's
Steelix, the Iron Snake Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Poliwhirl, the Tadpole Pokemon for agile in water.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Spiritomb, the forbidden Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Snorlax!
Who's that Pokemon? It's Pikachu!
Pikachu!
Who's that Pokemon? It's Pikachu!
Pikachu!
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Murkrow, the darkness Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Zubat, flying Pokemon with supersonic powers.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Mimikyu! Who's that Pokemon? It's Gengar! Who's that Pokemon? It's
Houndoom, the dark Pokemon, the evolved form of Houndour. Houndoom's eerie howl is said to cause those who hear it to shudder in fear.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Dusknoir, the gripper Pokemon. Henna.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Chandelure, the luring Pokemon, and the evolved form of Lampent. Chandelure uses its dancing flames to hypnotize opponents.